Like
No
you was
kitchen.
going crazy in that month.
Yeah, I went crazy. I'm not the same person.
New footage has just surfaced, and it shows Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane in a moment nobody ever expected to see. Most people already knew things weren't right between the OG and his former artist, but no one imagined a clip like this would come out. Now this video has everyone talking, and it's forcing people to look back at what really happened. Let's break it down. In mid-January 2026, Gucci Mane was reportedly robbed in Los Angeles. According to multiple sources, the suspects took his wedding ring along with his luxury watch. What made the situation even more shocking was the rumor that the people behind the robbery were allegedly connected to Pooh Shiesty and his crew. And that's where this story takes a serious turn.
Actually, Gucci Mane was just robbed recently, and they say it was in L.A. I know that, I don't know if you got to see the whole Gucci Mane Pooh Shiesty beef that's been going on.
Everything started after a private meeting. Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty met up in Los Angeles to talk about Shiesty's contract issues with 1017 Records. Shiesty was ready to walk away, but Gucci wasn't trying to hear that. Once the meeting ended, things took a dark turn. Just minutes later, word on the street says a group of guys pulled up on him.
He was just robbed for his wedding ring and his watch. And they say Pooh Shiesty might allegedly have something to do with it, but they're not sure. But apparently him and Pooh Shiesty had a meeting in LA, and the meeting was over Pooh Shiesty trying to get off the 1017 label.
Here's how it allegedly went down. Shy pulls up to the meeting surrounded by his crew. Tensions rise almost immediately as the contract discussion turns heated. Shiesty applies heavy pressure on Gucci Mane to sign the release paperwork, and eventually Gucci signs. Shiesty and his people exit the scene. Moments later, a different group moves in. The wedding ring is taken. The watch is gone. Just like that.
Cuz got robbed for his wedding ring and his fucking watch. Losing his shit right the fuck now. I'm not saying what city he got robbed in or nothing like that.
At this point, any connection between Shy and the people who ran up on Guap remains strictly alleged. There's no video of the robbery itself, and no police reports have been made public. Still, the timing raised serious red flags. Shy was seen at the meeting, he left, and almost immediately after, the robbery went down. For many, that was too convenient to ignore. Things escalated when blogger Tasha K dropped a bombshell claim. According to her, Gucci Mane was allegedly kidnapped by Pooh Shiesty, held at gunpoint, and forced to sign a contract releasing him from his Death Row Records 2.0 deal. That reference alone sent shockwaves as it pointed back to the original Death Row Records, an infamous label once run by Suge Knight, long associated with aggressive tactics and allegations of violence throughout the 90s.
Of course, Gucci Mane's like, I don't know. And apparently it was like one of those Vanilla Ice Suge Knight situations where Pooh Shiesty pretty much walked in there and was like, yo, look, you gonna sign this shit. We gonna make sure you sign this shit.
That Suge Knight comparison hit hard because of the history behind it. Back in the early 90s, Suge was infamous for allegedly using fear and intimidation to lock down contracts. The most legendary story involved Vanilla Ice. According to hip-hop lore, Knight supposedly dangled him over a balcony to force him to sign away his royalties. Whether it actually happened or has grown into hood folklore over time, the story became cemented in rap history. Now, sources were starting to draw uncomfortable parallels between the way Shiesty was moving and how Suge Knight once operated.
And apparently Shiesty was with some people and they made him sign it over. And then after they left, they say within minutes, a group of alleged, some gangbangers rolled in there and relieved Gucci Mane of some jewelry.
The jewelry that was taken wasn't ordinary by any stretch. The wedding ring alone was reportedly valued at over $200,000. The watch, said to be a Patek Philippe, was estimated at more than $300,000. According to multiple sources, the total value of everything in the bag, including cash and other assets, may have reached between $2 and $3 million. Gucci Mane wasn't moving careless either. He had security with him, which is an important detail. This wasn't a solo meeting, and he wasn't unprotected. But the people who pulled up were heavily armed. From the jump, Gucci security was outgunned. What made the situation even stranger was what didn't happen next. There was no police report, at least not publicly, no arrests, no warrants issued for Pooh Shiesty or anyone else allegedly involved. Instead, the story spread through blogs, social media, out in hip-hop news platforms. It was never officially confirmed, but the details were so specific that many people believed it. The timing, the jewelry, the armed men, and the alleged connection to ongoing contract disputes all lined up a little too cleanly. Still, not everyone was buying it. Social media reactions ranged from skepticism to outright disbelief. One commenter claimed nobody was sending hitters to rob Gucci Mane, implying that Gucci was too connected, too respected, and too plugged into the streets for something like that to happen. Others pushed back, pointing out a hard truth. Respect doesn't stop bullets. Whether the robbery happened exactly as described or not, it symbolized a complete collapse in the relationship between Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty. Just a year earlier, Taguchi had been publicly advocating for Shiesty's release from federal custody. Now, according to multiple reports, Shiesty had either orchestrated or allowed a lick to happen against him. If true, the switch-up was total. Before everything fell apart, the bond between Gucci and Pooh Shiesty was built on mentorship, opportunity, and mutual benefit. To understand how deep the fallout goes, you have to understand what once existed. Gucci Mane didn't just sign Pooh Shiesty to a record deal. He invested in him. He pushed his music aggressively and positioned him as the future of 1017 Records during a critical time for the label. Pooh Shiesty, born Lontrell Donald Williams Jr., came out of Memphis with a sound that blended the city's gritty street energy with the trap blueprint Gucci had been pioneering since the mid-2000s. When Gucci signed him in 2020, Shiesty was unproven commercially. He had raw talent, authentic street credibility, and hard bars, but no major hits, no proven fan base, and no track record of moving units. It was a gamble, and at first it paid off in a major way. Back in Blood, featuring Lil Durk, exploded. The song went multi-platinum and instantly put Shiesty on the map as one of the hardest new voices in hip-hop. His debut mixtape, Shiesty Season, earned strong critical reception and serious numbers. That signature ad-lib became unavoidable across social media. He wasn't just another 1017 artist. He was the artist, the face of the label's future, the one expected to carry the torch Gucci had held for years. Gucci showed love when the success came. After Shiesty Season dropped and the numbers made sense, Gucci gifted Shiesty a slime green Jeep Trackhawk. The color mattered. Green was the signature of 1017. That gift wasn't just a car, it was a statement about family, loyalty, and long-term investment. The moment went viral, reinforcing Gucci's image as a boss who took care of his artists. Their relationship went deeper than business. Gucci had survived the streets, prison, addiction, and reinvention. He positioned himself as someone who could guide younger artists through the same traps he once navigated. Pooh Shiesty looked like the perfect mentee. Young, hungry, talented, and deeply connected to the streets in a way you can't fake. Then the feds stepped in. In 2020, Shiesty caught a case in Miami involving firearms and a robbery tied to a deal that allegedly went wrong. By 2021, he was locked up on federal gun and robbery charges, putting his momentum on ice. Gucci didn't turn his back. He didn't distance himself when the money stopped coming in. Instead, he spoke out. In 2022, Gucci publicly raised concerns about Shiesty's treatment in federal custody, pointing to extended lockdowns and poor conditions. That advocacy went beyond contracts or finances. Shiesty wasn't making money from a prison cell. Gucci had no obligation to speak up, but he did anyway, suggesting genuine concern and loyalty. Shiesty ended up serving over 4 years, from 2021 through late 2025. While he sat, the industry kept moving. New artists took over. Trends shifted. The moment created by Back in Blood slowly faded. Still publicly, the relationship between Gucci and Shiesty appeared solid. No public beef, no sneak disses, no contract drama. Gucci occasionally mentioned him in interviews, expressing hope for his return. When Shiesty was released in October 2025, Gucci posted a welcome message online. "Time to shake the streets up. Proud of you." It felt personal. It felt supportive. Everything looked set for a major comeback under the 1017 banner. But something was off. That post was reportedly deleted shortly after it went up, the first public sign that the reunion wasn't smooth. The deletion sparked immediate speculation. Why welcome your artist home, then erase the evidence? The most likely explanation was that something went wrong almost immediately. A conversation, a disagreement, or new information that changed everything. And that tension didn't start there. The real fracture traces back to a death that shook the 1017 family and exposed deep differences over loyalty and responsibility. The loss of Big Scar. A Big Scar, born Alexander Woods, was a Memphis rapper signed to 1017 Records with a gritty, authentic sound. More importantly, he was Pooh Shiesty's cousin. They came up together in Memphis, long before record deals and contracts. That bond ran deeper than music, and when Big Scar passed, it created a wound that never healed, ultimately setting the stage for the explosive fallout that would allegedly erupt in January 2026.
He's from Memphis. He's actually Pooh Shiesty's little cousin. So him and Pooh Shiesty came up together. When Big Scar died, Gucci was supposed to pay for the funeral, which they said that he didn't.
Big Scar's death from an overdose shocked everyone around him, but what happened afterward caused even bigger problems. His passing didn't just leave grief behind. It exposed cracks inside the 1017 Records family, especially between Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty. As Big Scar's label boss, many expected Gucci Mane to handle the funeral expenses. That expectation wasn't unusual. In hip-hop, when labels promote themselves as family, taking care of an artist after death is often seen as part of that responsibility. Early rumors claimed Gucci refused to pay, and social media quickly turned against him. The optics were bad. A wealthy label owner allegedly abandoning the family of a young artist who was also the cousin of his biggest star. But the story didn't end there. Gucci's wife, Keisha Kawire, later posted receipts proving that the funeral had, in fact, been paid for. That should have ended the controversy, but instead it made things worse. According to multiple sources, Gucci then asked for Big Scar's chains back. 4 chains he had gifted him while he was alive. In hip-hop culture, chains aren't just jewelry. They symbolize success, loyalty, and acceptance. When a label boss gives an artist a chain, it represents achievement, not alone. Asking for those chains back after Big Scar's death sent a message that the family branding might have really just been business. That decision reportedly upset Big Scar's family deeply, especially Pooh Shiesty. At the time, Pooh Shiesty was locked up and couldn't attend his cousin's funeral. Everything he heard came through prison calls and secondhand information. Whether accurate or not, those stories shaped his view of Gucci. What might have stayed private instead played out online. Posts, comments, screenshots, and public pressure made reconciliation nearly impossible. But the tension between Gucci and Pooh Shiesty didn't start there. It was already building inside the contract. When Pooh Shiesty signed to 1017 Records in 2020, he was an unproven artist. Like most label deals, the terms favored the label. That's normal. Labels take the risk early. The problem came when Back in Blood exploded. Pooh Shiesty became one of the hottest rappers in the game, but his contract didn't change. He was generating major money while the label took most of the profits. Ironically, this was the same frustration Gucci Mane had faced earlier in his own career. But now he was on the other side. Then came prison. From 2021 to 2025, Pooh Shiesty couldn't record or tour, but his contract clock kept running. When he came home, he wanted out. He claimed his music was being blocked and that the label was holding him back. Meanwhile, CMG, Yo Gotti's label, was reportedly offering a $10 million deal. A hometown move, a fresh start. But Gucci refused to release him. From a business standpoint, that made sense. From a personal one, it felt like betrayal. According to allegations, a meeting in Los Angeles meant to resolve things failed completely. Gucci said no, and after that, rumors surfaced that Pooh Shiesty forced the issue, allegedly involving a robbery meant to pressure Gucci into signing a release. Nothing has been confirmed, no arrests, no police reports. Both sides have stayed mostly silent. That silence speaks volumes. If Pooh Shiesty had directly violated parole, he'd likely already be back in custody. That hasn't happened, leaving the truth somewhere in the middle. What this situation really exposes is the bigger problem in hip-hop, the clash between family branding and business reality. Labels talk loyalty, but contracts talk control. When artists realize that too late, things can turn ugly fast. So what really happened here? Was Gucci Mane protecting his business or breaking his own code? And did Pooh Shiesty go too far trying to take back his freedom? Let me know what you think in the comments.